Alright, welcome to my quick tutorial, hopefully quick, about creating your own DCA3 game disc for the Sega Dreamcast. Now, DCA3, quick introduction, is the Grand Theft Auto 3 port that has been released into Alpha for the Sega Dreamcast, and they have instructions on how to essentially compile your own version from your legally installed version of Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, if you want the TLDR version, the extra short version, go ahead and jump to the timestamp at the very end. And yeah, I'm going to fast forward through it and get it done. Now, I'm going to be keeping a little bit of the instructions on the left-hand side here of the screen, just so we can continue to follow along. But I'm going to be doing some of my main stuff on the main screen here on the right-hand side. Now, of course, prerequisites, like I just said, you do have to have a legally obtained version of Grand Theft Auto 3 in order to do this, to grab the game files and compile it with the developer's data so that it can be successfully running on the Dreamcast, whether you're using a original Dreamcast with the full disk drive and everything, or you're using a disk drive emulator like a GD-EMU, or even maybe in the near future emulator, I guess. That support is either fringe or it's coming soon. That being said, we're going to be referencing this install setup just to make sure that we're doing it word by word. So, that being said, it says you need GTA3 installed. This version has been tested and works. Now, this version that they're referring to is the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Edition from their website, the rockstargames.com website. We're going to be using the 2-disc original retail version of Grand Theft Auto 3 for that. So it does say, note that some versions of the game may not work because, of course, Grand Theft Auto 3 has been out for a while and there's been a few versions released. It has been reported that D4_GTA3 MP3 is corrupted sometimes. Of course, this is an alpha. Nothing's going to be 100% perfect, even when you're running the game itself. Keep that in mind. Like it says, make sure you have a legit copy with no corrupted files, as this process will not work otherwise. Make sure your computer is running well. Make sure you've run the game to make sure the game is running well on your computer already, because if it's corrupted on your computer that is installed on, they're probably going to have a problem with some of the files. You also need the following tools installed: Git-SCM and Dream SDK R3. So we're going to go ahead and install those two, and there's a lot of different options that you can select with both of these. Now, what I recommend, especially if this is the only reason you're going to be installing these two pieces of software, just keep everything default. Keep the default things that are already checked off, and hit next, 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 next. Okay? So I'm going to hit Git SCM, and it does give you some options for different versions of this or different types of installers. I'm going to hit the latest build for Windows here, which is the 64-bit version. Click on that to download it, and then you want to go ahead and open it right here. And then from here, again, you want to go ahead and hit next. There's a lot of options on this components to be installed. Again, just leave it default, hit next. Use Vim, next. Let Git decide, next. Get from the command line and also from third-party software, yes. Recommended, next. Use bundled OpenSSH, next. Use OpenSSL library, next. Check out Windows style commit Unix style line endings, next. Use Minty default terminal, next. Fast forward or merge, next. Get credential manager, next. Enable file system caching, next. Install. I already have it installed, so you may have a screen there. You may see that screen there where it says it's removing previous versions. Now, I might be running this a little bit fast, so you can go ahead and pause the video or repeat a specific step when you get to it if you need to go back and check it out. In this case, I'm going to uncheck this I'm going to leave both of these unchecked. I'm not going to launch it. I'm not going to view release notes. I'm going to hit finish. All right, that is installed. So we're going to go back and install Dream SDK R3. Now you click on that and it'll bring you to GitHub repository where you can see all the different things that have been added to it and changed and whatnot. And from there, we're going to go ahead and scroll down. And it gives us a few different assets, a few different files that are included with this release. You've got Dream SDK R3 setup.iso. This is the one that we're going to be going ahead and clicking on and installing. It is 454 megabytes in size, so depending on your internet connection, it may take a few minutes to download. It may take a couple hours. I'm not sure. It depends. But you want to go ahead and click on that to install that. Alright, it is downloaded and opened. I'm going to open up File Explorer to show. Alright, so from here, you've got Dream SDK R3 ISO. Now, if you're using a modern version of Windows, which you probably are, you can actually open this up and it will be able to show the disk contents for you immediately. I do have a disk burning piece of software that it's going to want to open up within instead. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and hit right click on it. I'm going to go ahead and open with, and I'm going to select Windows Explorer. Now you do see here image burn. That's a piece of software that I own that I do use to burn my game discs for Dreamcast. So I do recommend it. I'm probably going to show that step, but you can use, there's a lot of different recommendations for burning your own Dreamcast games. So I will let you decide which one you can get, either free or paid, trial, whatever. But that's the one I use, and that's why it's showing up here. So Windows Explorer, I'm going to open it with Windows Explorer because it's going to natively open this disk image up and mount it to the computer so that I can see the contents. And yes, it's got a security warning. So we got the contents of this disk as though we've already mounted the disk, and then I've got the setup .exe right here. Of course, you have your README files and stuff you can read if you want. I'm going to double click on setup. Again, same thing for this. We're going to go through the default options. But if you're like me, you have Windows Defender Smart Screen turned on, which is a good option in my opinion, but it's going to try to prevent you from running things it may not recognize or may be harmful for your computer. I know where this came from. It's from the official repository. It's not from some strange clickbait website, so I'm going to hit more info right here and run anyways. There's always a risk, but I'm going to take that risk. Now, I already have it installed, so you will probably not see this, but I'm going to hit yes to remove the old version, and I'm going to put the existing new version on here just for our benefit. All right, I'm going to hit next. I accept the agreement. Of course, you want to read all your agreements, of course. All the prerequisites here that show you a little bit about the different parts of this piece of software. I'm going to do this in the default of C Dream SDK. And I'm going to hit yes. You won't have an option. I already have it installed and that folder exists. So, all right. So from here, I'm going to keep all the default components completely selected. Hit next. I'm going to absolutely keep the stable version selected because we always like stable and stability in our lives. I'm going to go ahead and hit next on this. Don't enable Ruby. I'm going to keep that checked off. Use online repositories. Yes. I'm going to keep that on there. Hit next. Hit next. And then yes, I'm going to also keep those checked off as well. Next. And of course, install from here. Alright, now we're gonna install GD-EMU. I believe I pronounced that correctly, GD-EMU. Next. Now this may take a couple minutes, so bear with me. I'm probably gonna fast forward the footage through some of this to make it go a little bit faster, but this will take at least a couple minutes. Alright, it was successfully installed. Hit OK. Now it says operation done, so we're going to go ahead and hit the close button. Now in this case, open the Getting Started guide. I'm going to uncheck that and check off Launch Dream SDK Manager and hit Finish. Alright, I'm going to stop right here and we're going to go back to the instructions on the left here. So we've successfully installed Git-SCM and Dream SDK R3. It also says, note that due to an issue with Dream SDK, creating pre-built CDI images won't fully complete the first time. Retype the command and it will continue where it left off. It should run to completion and show repack completed successfully . That's a good note that we're going to revisit in a little bit, but we're going to continue on to preparing the GTA3 folder. Now from here it says open Dream SDK shell. So I'm going to go back here, hit start shell. Hello, this is Nick from the future, and I wanted to cover something really quick before we get started too far, and if you have any issues with the Dream Shell SDK launcher. Now while we're waiting, I wanted to show a little bit of an issue that you may have experienced when you're first starting the Dream SDK manager. Now if you go in there and you try to open up the terminal, the shell, and if it doesn't open up, you want to go under here, go under options. So you go there, and if it says Minty, select Windows Terminal if it doesn't work under Minty, and if it works under doesn't work under Windows Terminal, go ahead and select Minty. But I ended up having to do Windows Terminal on the second go ahead. Not sure why. It worked under Minty before, but just in case your terminal doesn't pop up, that's what you may have to do. Alright, so we've got the shell running right now. Perfect, so we've got it running. And normally, so we're at this step of Open Dream Shell SDK shell, or Dream SDK shell, sorry. Type mkdir GTA3. So what I normally do is kind of a, not really a hack or anything like that, but I'm gonna copy exactly what you're supposed to type in there, and then either right click and paste or Control V, paste in there. So we're gonna make directory GTA3, and then it says type explore space period. And doing that, we'll open up an Explorer window right here where it says GTA3 right here. This will open up a folder named GTA3. Copy your GTA3 files in there. Note, if you use the 2 CD-ROM version of the game, which I'm using, make sure to also copy the contents of the play disk to this folder. Now when you have the 2 disk version, there's an install disk and a play disk. And the play disk is the one that you put in to play the game, and that has a lot of the audio and media files in there. So we're actually going to keep this folder over here on the right. I'm going to open up a new Windows Explorer window right here by Windows key E for echo, or you can go down here, right click, and hit File Explorer. So from here, I'm going to actually go and look for my GTA3 install. It should be, I believe, Program Files x86 under Rockstar, wherever you installed it. Yeah, it would probably be over there, x86 Program Files, Rockstar Games, GTA3. Now once we get to the Rockstar Games GTA3 folder, and you see these folders with the GTA3 executable and anim and audio and data and stuff like that, you're gonna do Control A to select all of it, Control C to copy it, or again, you can right click and copy. And I'm going to go back to the right here, go to GTA3, and Control V as in Victor to paste it in that new folder. Again, you can always select all, copy, and paste by right clicking in here as well, but I just do keyboard shortcuts. So I've got the game data here. I'm going to go ahead and close that that window. Actually, before I close this window, I've got my GTA audio disc in here, the play disc that it asked me to grab files from. Now you can see right here, I'm gonna go to the files currently on disk and select all of it here. It says files ready to be written to the disk. If there is something on there from, I don't know, previous time you've had the disk inserted or whatever, ignore that one. Just get everything that's currently on the disk. And again, we're gonna Control C, copy, or right click, copy right here. I'm gonna go back in here and paste right in here. Just paste it right into the GTA3 folder. Now, it's coming from a game disk, so depending on the speed of your CD or DVD drive, it might take a couple minutes. Alright, and you may come to a screen that says here, it already has a specific DLL file. I just did replace the file in a destination. That's fine, that's from the disk. So now I've got everything on the right hand side here in our GTA3 folder. I'm going to go ahead and close out this previous folder here. And if we go back to the instructions, it says close the folder and Dream SDK shell and proceed to the next step. Now here's where I kind of differ a little bit on the instructions. After each step, it tells you to close this SDK shell right here. I'm gonna just keep it open. I kept it open. I think they just do it because you change folders sometimes. If you feel like you just want to close out this window and go back to here and hit start shell, that is totally up to you. I'm going to keep this shell open just because I did it before and it served me well. So, alright, so we've got the game files here. I'm going to go ahead and actually close this window out too. Like it says, close that window out to get it out of the way. Alright, so now we're on to the next step, cloning the DCA3 game repo and downloading the pre-built ELF or ELF file. So with this one, basically, I'll go ahead and walk you through that we need to go ahead and open the Dream SDK shell, right? We got it open already. We're going to type in git clone branch alpha and then just copy all this. Game.git, copy, and now go ahead and put in there and paste, Control V, and press enter. And now it's gonna take a moment to clone the repo as we do that, and it only takes a minute. Perfect, we've done that. And now we're gonna go ahead and go in and type cd DCA3 game Dreamcast and press enter. So we're gonna copy all of this right here and make sure that we're gonna change directory to the proper directory, the proper folder that we've got. Press enter. Once we do that, now we're in the proper folder. And now we're going to go ahead and type in or copy paste explore space period in here. So it's going to open up the explore Windows Explorer to this specific folder that we're in right here. So we're going to keep it on the side, like it says. It's got everything that we've got in here, all the different game files. Now, a folder named Dreamcast with some files should open up, like we said. We're in the Dreamcast folder right here. I'm going to keep it on the side. Now we're going to download the Alpha pre-built ELF from here. Now this is a little bit weird. It looks a little weird, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this link and I'll walk you right through it. If you're not familiar with everything, whoops, I accidentally clicked on it. I'm going to copy the link, put in my main browser, and we're going to go right here. So from here, we're on this page here, GitLab, and it's got a bunch of stuff. So we're looking at the pre-built ELF. Got a bunch of stuff on this page. We're going to go ahead and focus right in on pre-built ELF under the other category. So we want to ignore the rest of that, click on pre-built ELF. And when we do that, it's going to bring up a bunch of code on this page. And my eyes glazed over. I know you probably did too by looking at it. Don't worry, you don't have to copy any of this stuff. Just go to the right-hand side and click on the download button right here in the job artifacts. You click on that, it's going to download a zip file for the artifacts zip there. We're going to go ahead and open that artifacts zip file. And as you notice in here, there's a Dreamcast folder in here. Now, from here, we're going to open it up and we're going to see the DC3 Alpha file. That's the file that we need to get. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that other Explorer window where we were at before, that Dreamcast folder. And now we're going to go ahead and copy this ELF file, this ELF file, and we're going to paste it right here. Control C, Control V to copy paste. Now we've got all the files we need from the ELF folder into here, and we're at a good spot. So we'll go ahead and close these folders out. I think we're done with this one. Yep, so we're going to close this one out. Now we're going to close this one out because we're done. We're done here. Now I'm going to go back to this other page without all this code on it, just because it's visually, yeah. Now, all right, so we're at a good stage to figure out what we're going to do next. The next step is really going to be determined by what your final output will be. You have two choices. We're either going to make a CDI image for you to use in a GD-EMU solution, basically a gigabit disk ROM emulator. Now, for those that don't know, the Dreamcast had a disk drive called the GD-ROM or gigabit disk ROM format. Now, the GD-EMU is basically you're ripping out the disk drive and putting in an emulator in there. So if your disk drive failed or whatever, you're basically loading games from an SD card instead of a CD drive or a disk drive. Now, it's really cool, but not everybody has that. If you're going to be using a stock Dreamcast with a stock disk drive, you're going to be choosing the other option for repacking and making a pre-built CDI for burning CD-ROM. We're going to go through both steps here, okay? But the first one we're going to go through is the one for the GD-EMU. So if you don't want to do the GD-EMU one, go ahead and skip ahead to the burning CD-ROM step, okay? Okay, so we're going to use this GD-EMU step right here. Okay, so note that due to an issue with the Dream SDK, creating pre-built CDI images won't fully compile the first time. Retype the command and it will continue where it left off. So no matter which step we're on, we're going to have to do that, most likely. So we're going to go ahead and type in DCA3 game, and then we're going to have to type in that make CDI pre-built. That's going to happen twice. So when we type that command in, it'll go through a bunch of stuff, but it will not finish successfully. It'll have to say CDI compiled successfully or something similar in order for it to work. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and type in DCA game. We're already there. We're already at that specific folder, which it tells us right here. We're already there. And then we're going to go ahead and type in make CDI pre-built. Now, again, this will take, it says about 5 to 15 minutes. That is pretty accurate depending on your computer. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter, and then most likely we're going to run into that thing where it's not done successfully, and we're going to hit enter to we're going to throw the command in again and hit enter, but we'll check back in a moment. We're just going to make sure that it's starting. Yep, it is starting. Now we're going to fast forward. Okay, so we have completed the step, but it didn't say that it completed successfully. So we're gonna go ahead and do that same thing like the error said, or that note said in there. We're gonna paste that command in there again and hit enter, and it's gonna resume building and compiling that CDI disk image. So yep, it's gonna continue off where it did. Perfect. Now we're gonna let that go for another few minutes, and it should compile successfully. Now I'll let that kind of go, and we'll fast forward and come back. Okay, so as you can see, it says CDI baked successfully. Now that's great. Now we're done. So essentially, go ahead and type in explore space dot. Go ahead and toss that in there and hit enter. And when we do that, it's going to pop up your folder again, your Dreamcast folder. As you can see in here, you've got your DCA3 .cdi right there. As you can see, it's about 900 megabytes, close to that. That means we're good. We've built the GDI or GD-EMU image, and go ahead and back that up somewhere. Go ahead and put it in your documents, wherever you back up stuff like this, and then you're ready to go. Go ahead and toss it in that SD card, pop it in your GD-EMU, and boot it right up. You're good to go. And yeah, so you're set to go. So if you ever if there's a new version that comes out, a new build that comes out, you can just go in here and redo the cloning DCA3 game repo and repack, and you're good to go. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to be showing you repacking and making a pre-built CDI for burning CD-ROM. Now, this is if you've got a stock Dreamcast and you want to run this off of, this is the step that you're going to want to follow, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to type in CD DCA3 game Dreamcast, which we're already at that folder, but if you haven't opened up Dream SDK shell, do that, type in that, and then hit enter to get to the right directory. Now you're going to want to copy make 4 disk equals 1 CDI pre-built. So go ahead and copy that and paste it in here and hit enter. This should take a while, like the other one did. If you watch the GD-EMU section, it'll take a while, and it'll be smaller. It'll be about 300 megabytes. Now they have a little thing at the bottom here. If the CDI is not about 700 megabytes in Linux, or 260, roughly about 300 megabytes in Windows, then you did something wrong. You can type RM RF repack data and press enter to start the step from the beginning. So essentially, if you've already got a repack in there, like we've done this before, or you did the GD-EMU step and now you want to do the CD-ROM step, basically if something looks wrong when you run this step, run that RM RF repack data command, and then to wipe out remove that repack data, and then go back and hit that make 4 disk equals 1 CDI pre-built. Okay, you're going to want to do that, and especially I'm going to show you what it'll look like if you have to do that. So I'm going to type in that command, and it'll take probably 15 seconds and say repack successful. That means that's probably not a good sign, and that means you've done something wrong, as they put it, where it needs to get the repack in again. Yep, see, it'll say boom, everything's good, CDI baked successfully. That's way too fast. That means something happened, something went wrong, or we need to rebuild this for the CD-ROM. And yeah, it shows about 800, 900 megabytes. And we're going to go back to Explore just to make sure that that CDI is the wrong size. Just go back and refresh. Yep, that's the wrong size. So we're going to go ahead and go back to Terminal, and we're going to go ahead and type in, or copy paste I should say, RM RF repack data to remove that repack data. Should only take a moment. And then we're going to go ahead and run that repack right here. So make 4 disk 1 CDI pre-built, copy, paste, hit enter. And for this step, you're probably going to have to run it again. It'll get part way through, stop, and if it doesn't say CDI compiled successfully or whatever, something similar to that, you're going to have to run the same command, the make 4 disk equals 1 pre-built again. Okay, you're going to do it a second time, and most likely you're going to have to do it twice, just because it gets interrupted in the middle for some reason on its own, and you just have to run it again until you get that roughly 300 megabyte CDI file. All right, so we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to that part. All right, yep, so it did get interrupted. We're going to have to toss in that command again because it didn't say completed successfully. It's got to say that. So go ahead and toss that in there. That command, that make 4 disk 1 CDI pre-built, hit enter, and it will resume making that disk for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's going to start up, and then we're going to skip ahead. Perfect. Yep, let's skip ahead and fast forward. All right, CDI baked successfully. That's what we want to see. It is done. It is good to go. It does tell you to type in explore dot space dot to check it out. But if you go back in here, check it out. Yep, we're roughly 300 megabytes or just under. So that is your CD-ROM image that you're going to burn to your blank CD and pop in your Dreamcast. So yeah, you are good. You are at the end of the stage here for creating your CD image of GTA 3 or DCA3 for the Dreamcast. And the way I'm going to burn it is I have image burn on my computer, and that's the way I burn my Dreamcast burnable games. And there's a bunch of other different ways you can burn it. You can use Disk Juggler, or there's other programs that people use. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on that CDI, right click on it and hit open, because open, it's gonna auto open for me an image burn. And if you're using image burn, you want to make sure, of course, the source is where it's at exactly, and destination is DVD drive, which I've got, and we're going to set it to 4x. We do not want it to be very high at all. I'd say 4x or even lower should be fine. We want it to write nice and slow. It does matter, actually. And we're going to hit write, and it'll probably take a good couple, 3-4 minutes to write this disk. It's not super big of a disk. It's not taking up the full 700 megabytes, but it will take up a good portion of it. And yeah, let's write that disk. Completed, so we're good to go. You want to go ahead and pop that disc out and then pop it in your Dreamcast and play the game as it's meant to be played. So that's it. You've successfully made and burned your disc for consumption. All right. Well, I hope you had a good time doing this. I know there's a few steps, and you know, your patience will go through and pay in dividends while you are enjoying GTA 3 on your Dreamcast. Now, these steps will apply for when new builds come out. You're probably going to want to go back through and reclone the DCA3 game repo, because that's where the files are going to be updated from. Your game files are not going to be updated on your GTA 3 side. You will still have them in the right folder. And downloading the pre-built ELF again. I don't know if you have to download the pre-built ELF, but I would do it just in case it's updated. Yeah, worst case, you're gonna have to just reclone the repo and re-download the pre-built ELF before you then repack, either for GD-EMU or for CD-ROM. So, yeah, each step should take not very long. So if you want to just do it again, that's cool. Before you repack, that would be fine. But all right, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope the instructions were helpful, and yeah, go ahead and check out some more of my content, my videos. I don't really make instructional videos like this very often, or if at all, but I do make retro PC and retro console type videos, Sonic videos, things like that. I do have a couple other GTA type videos, which may be of interest, but thank you again for coming to my channel. I hope you enjoy. I hope you have lots of success and lots of really fun times using GTA 3 on your Dreamcast, and game on. Alright, so this video shows you all the steps in depth as I do them myself. So I'm going to give you the TLDR version. Alright, and that is 3 steps: prep, assemble, and repack. Sounds like we're in a kitchen, right? So, prep step: install the GTA 3 game on your computer. If it's the 2-disc version, keep the play disc inserted in your CD drive. Install git-scm and Dream SDK with all default values except use Windows Terminal as shell in Dream SDK. Just do it. Download the Alpha pre-built ELF file or ELF file, DCA3.elf. It's linked. Now, in the assemble step, open Dream SDK shell. Type mkdir space GTA3 and hit enter. Type explore space dot and hit enter. Copy all of your GTA 3 game files there, including the play disc files. Next, type git space clone space dash dash branch space alpha space https://gitlab.com/skmp/dca3-game.git and hit enter to download the latest dev files. Just copy paste that, don't type it in. Type cd space dca3-game/Dreamcast and hit enter to change folders. Type explore space dot and hit enter. Now copy the ELF file dca3.elf in there. Now we're at the repack stage. If you've got a GD-EMU, go ahead and type make space cdi-prebuilt and hit enter. Wait until it stops. Do it again. Type in make cdi-prebuilt and hit enter. After that second time, when it says it was successful, you're done. Copy that dca3.cdi file to your SD card and play the game. If you've got a stock Dreamcast and you're going to burn a CD, type make space 4_disk equals 1 space cdi-prebuilt and hit enter. Wait until it stops. Do it again. Retype that and hit enter. Wait for a little bit. When it says it was successful, it should be about 300 megabytes in size. Burn that CDI image slowly using image burn, disk juggler, or whatever you prefer. If the CDI image isn't around 300 megabytes, maybe it's larger, type rm space -rf space repack -data and do this step from the beginning. Now go ahead and burn the disk and play. That's it. That's the TLDR version. You just heard the short version. Now, if you want to see it all explained and you want to see it shown on the screen and everything like that, then go ahead and keep watching.